We just been talking.
Yeah.
It's been recording on there for the podcast, but not for the video. But we're live on YouTube now, so
All good, all good.
that was a great turn she did.
Cheers.
And we're watching the Georgia Alabama game.
Cheers.
So
Oh, and shout out to Executive Cigar Shop and Lounge. On Thanksgiving Day, they unveiled their online
their website.
website.
Oh,
so
very nice.
you can shop cigars now, have them delivered to you. You can buy accessories, and the location and hours of the lounge
Very nice.
are on the website. So executiveshopsanford.com is the website. And you can browse by brand, you can browse by strength, you can browse by quantity, so if you want a single stick, or you can browse by bundles. So it is very, very well laid out. So I was quite impressed looking at this today. Brand, quantity, ring gauge.
Oh yeah,
strength.
see that's the way to view cigars.
And you can sort by best-selling, price high, low, new to old, in terms of when they brought cigars in.
Mhm.
So it's good to see. So currently, the Atabey Ritos, one of my favorites, is $8.54. So the ESG 22-year salute.
The ESG and the VSG are two of my favorites from Ashton.
Yep. So. Yep. 64 Imperial Natural Box, 500.
Well, you know what that means. We'll have to start getting our gear on the website, the ATF gear, our
Yes.
cutters and lighters and shirts and everything,
That's
putting them
it.
on there.
Yeah.
And for the new year, we will be more mobile.
Oh, mobile and global.
Yes. So if you are listening or watching and you have a shop that you would like us to visit, as long as it's in driving range, let's keep it to, definitely North Carolina because we got to go visit Preston Gray.
And definitely Tennessee, because we got to make another
Right.
trip up to Uncle Nearest and take care of some other things.
Absolutely. So anywhere in the South, we may even have to go. Actually, we do have to go to Alabama
For a few reasons.
for Lawler's number one.
Yeah.
Plus, I want to meet Steve's dad
Same.
and go shoot.
Same.
And then there's a great cigar shop that Steve's told us so much about that that's literally his home shop. That's what he says. Like he lives in Orlando, but because he grew up in Alabama, that is his home shop, and he loves that place.
And as one of my best friends, I will ask you for accountability helping me with my 2022 New Year's resolution, which is to stop cursing.
Fuck that.
I'm just fucking with you.
Okay, all right.
It
I was
sounded
about to say,
good, though.
you asking the wrong motherfucker.
So, but yes, so we will definitely be more mobile.
I think to curse more eloquently.
Yes.
That would be a good
Yes.
resolution.
Yes.
Not just brash curse words, but really framing it in a perfect sentence so that they're like, man, this guy's well read, but he just disrespected the fuck out of me.
Brash and eloquent.
I think that's the key.
The word will be relevant.
Not to be confused with beautiful breasts, which are breloquent.
True. That is true.
Well, that would be breloquent because they're in a brassiere.
That's
they
true.
say. Or sweater puppets.
Or titterprint.
So you always take it a step above. So I appreciate your friendship.
We take it a step above as friends. So, as I inspire you, you certainly do inspire me.
And shout out to Chair Force Steve. He is on duty this weekend, so he will not be joining us. He's probably actually already off. And
Listening to us and laughing
yeah, as usual.
and wishing he was here. So,
Hopefully he's a lot better than he was. Actually, he did get a little better. I did see Will Brady at Cigars.
oh, did you?
Yeah.
Okay.
He's home for the month.
That's right. That's right.
So he came home for Thanksgiving.
That's right. He's
with the
leaving
family.
early January.
Yeah, but he hung out with me, and he actually called me and was like, "Hey, what are you doing? I'm back in town for the rest of the month." So I was like, "Okay." So we talked, caught up. Dad's still a riot. Mom's great. So the whole family's there, and then his sister, he said, is going to get engaged soon.
Yes, he did tell me that.
Yeah, so looking forward to celebrating with uh, our extended family, the Brady's, because they're just amazing folks. He was telling me about his tales of being in Houston
Yep. And
and
now,
then now New
now New
Orleans.
Orleans. Yeah, two
So
great cities.
yeah.
So, loving, loving New Orleans.
Oh yeah, he's doing a lot of good humanitarian work there, helping out the less fortunate to kind of get themselves back on track, get their housing together. You know, just an all around good guy. Um, so shout out to him. Can't wait to hang out with him again.
And a week from today, it will be the Uncle Nearest reveal of what they've got coming up next. So uh, I'm wondering if it's another bundle pack that they're going to have available for the holiday season, or if it's a new product. So
I am hoping it's a 4-pack.
So the 1820, the 1856, the 1884, and the MBE.
And the Master Blend.
That would be sweet.
That would be.
But that's probably going to be $250.
I don't care.
It's still worth
I don't care.
it. It's still worth
I'd buy 2, one for each side of the bar. 2 sets. And that way I could have a full empty 4 bottles, and then the other one would be full and unopened. You know.
it. That works. So, but yeah, so that's a week from today, and depending on when that release takes place, it might be something worth discussing on the show. So we will see.
Absolutely. We'll keep our ears to the ground, as it were,
That's it.
and bring you guys more information on that once we find it.
Fawn Weaver, again, big things, all good things. So proud of her. So
I can't wait to see that World's Longest Bar once it's completed.
man,
I think that's going to be something that's just
and
out of this world.
And that restaurant, the menu is
Oh,
going to be done by
yes.
celebrity chef G.
Garvin.
Garvin.
Yeah,
So you
he's
know the
good.
food's going to be good.
Oh yeah, I got his first cookbook that he came out with.
Yeah.
I got it, and that was over 10 years ago. I bought his first cookbook, and man, I tell you, I still go back to that cookbook and look at stuff and pick out certain dishes and cook them. So he is a true artist
He
in the
is.
kitchen. So
He
I
is.
do look forward to that.
And as someone who is art, I recognize another artist. So
Game recognized game, as
there,
they say.
there you have it.
Also, it is the Christmas season.
It's the season of giving and receiving.
That part. So, with that said, find out your significant other's favorite cigar. And the easiest way to do that is just look at the ring that's in the ashtray when he's done or when she's done. And just take that to your local cigar shop and say, my significant other likes this cigar. Can you recommend some things in the same spectrum but a different manufacturer? I actually had, when I was in, where was I at? When we went to the game on Saturday, on Friday, on Black Friday, and I put up the post, and then I posted, Takia smoking. Afterwards, one of my friends who I've known for a very long time, probably 15, 20 years, she sends me a message. She was like, "Cigars, we got to talk." And I'm like, "Cool." So I message her. Come to find out, her boyfriend, soon-to-be fiance, is really into cigars.
Okay.
He's on the flavored side right now. He hasn't delved into the regular natural cigar. No, which is, like I said, the new Kingsman's coming out. I can't wait for that. I understand. Sometimes you have to start out with something sweeter or more flavored in order to really get into it, which is fine.
I call it a gateway cigar.
Right. It's like, I won't go there. I won't make that reference. But I told her, she was like, because I want to get him some stuff he hasn't tried. And that's what I told her. I said, the easiest thing to do is just to say, hey, one of my friends wants to get into cigars and wants to know, what cigars that you like. And I was like, that way you'll be able to find the name. And I said, and just ask him to give you either the wrapper, because it'll have the barcode and the name and everything on it, or ask him to give you the band. And then I said, just take a picture of it and send it to me. And I said, I'll give you a list of about 10 or 20 cigars, that you can go get. And you get 1 stick each. You blend them a whole box, and you get him a nice little humidor. You put them in there, and that's one of his Christmas presents.
That's a great idea.
So
that is a great idea.
And that's something that I've been doing a long time.
Because that way you can have a variety of cigars. People get a chance to try that variety and either expand their palate or pick out what they like, what they love, what they don't like.
Next Saturday,
So,
yeah.
so they will have some options.
Right, and that's the thing, because I tell you, most of the time,
How are you?
what's going on, sir? Most of the time, it's one of those things when you go to a cigar shop, you always go to what you know.
True.
And I find that, sometimes the people who work at a cigar shop aren't necessarily tobacconists; they're just retail workers.
Correct.
So they sell you what they're going to get paid the most for.
As Colonel Kurtz said in Apocalypse Now, they are errand boys sent by grocery clerks to collect a bill.
Wow. See, that's the eloquent part. See that? And you didn't even curse.
I did.
That was,
But shit, I could have. But this time I did.
but this time you didn't.
But you're
yeah.
right. There are certain places where you've got retail workers and other places where you have tobacconists or tobacconists to bees.
Right.
Here at Executive, we've got Edka, who's a certified tobacconist. We have Genesis, who knows cigars well and who will be taking that step.
Yep.
And Carmen has also expressed an interest in upping her cigar game. And so the book that you and I have sitting between us, the Tobacconist Handbook, I bought her a copy of and gave it to her.
This is a very detailed book.
So she can begin her journey, begin her own journey of tobacco and cigar knowledge. The who, the what, the why, the when. It's the equivalent of going through sommelier levels 1 through 4 with wine.
It's the Bible of the tobacconist.
Mm-hmm.
And you can find this book on Amazon. The course you can actually find at TU, which is Tobacconist University. They not only have retail shop workers, shop managers, they also have a consumer course that you can take.
It is literally the tail of the tape, the tabernacle of tobacconists.
And I believe that right now, the other than paying for the book, the consumer part is free for right now. So look it up, Tobacconist University. They have a wealth of knowledge. And like I said, even if you're not interested all the way in taking the course and taking it that far, get this book. It's about $20 to $25 on Amazon, and it's perfect. They don't have a digital version, and I wouldn't take a digital version of this book. This is something that you can write and take notes in and just learn so much. And this is literally from the seed all the way to the cigar you're smoking. That's the type of information that you get out of this book. It helps you to not only understand tobacco more, but understand a bigger part to me is it teaches you why prices are the way they are for certain cigars. Because, some cigars are aged for 60 days or 90 days. They sit in a pretty long for maybe another 30 days, and then they're rolled. Whereas, you have some cigar companies that tobacco's aged, good tackle, 4 years, 8 years, 10 years, depending. There's so many different things that go on. So people say, I don't understand why this cigar is $20 versus this cigar that kind of looks the same, but it's only $8. It is the quality of the tobacco. It is the recipe that tobacco takes on. I mean, blending is no small feat. And you have to remember, just like the drug companies, they do research on 15 or 20 different medications that they make. Only one of them passes the FDA and is allowed to be a pharmaceutical drug. So all of the money that they've invested in those other 19 blends or brands, they have to try to recover. So, and these we're talking about, and cigars is not, it's probably, 30% less than what it costs to make, or sorry, not 30, I'll say 50% less than what it costs to make a drug. But, these manufacturers, these blenders, they pour millions into stuff that never sees the light of day.
They do.
So you have to understand that it's just like anything else you get. You're paying for a product and you're paying for the process that it takes to perfect that product. I mean, myself included. It took me a year and a half just to narrow down to 3 blends from over 1,000 of what I actually wanted. So you got to think about the man hours of producing that tobacco, aging that tobacco, then rolling it and testing it. And mind you, like when I did my testing, I didn't smoke any other cigar but that cigar. So I have over
You had to
10,000
really,
cigars.
you had to really invest in that. Yeah,
And it's, yeah, and people think it's just a money thing. And it's like, yeah, people throw money at it, but you have to understand that if you really want a quality product, it takes time. You're very welcome to go down to the DR or to Nicaragua or anywhere else and just go to a factory and say, hey, I want you to put my name on this cigar. That's easy. But if you want to have a true product that you love, that you understand, that you know the blood, sweat, and tears that went into it, it takes a lot more money and it takes a lot more time. So I think this book really explains the whole process of how tobacco is grown, how they choose a vitola for what the cigar is going to be,
even
and then
even
what the price rate is going to be.
even the shape. Is it
Yeah,
going to be a box press? Is it going to be the octagon shape like the placenta?
placenta. Yeah, you
Yeah,
gotta. There's a lot of work that goes into that because when they put the cigar on the shelf, what do they want? They want people to buy it, and if they're not giving you the greatest possible outcome of the mixture of tobaccos that they put together, it's going to be a flop, just like anything else.
yeah.
So
And
understanding the
and, the, and
process.
and just think about the fact that the key through all of that is consistency. You buy that same cigar here at Executive Cigars in Sanford, it should be the exact same quality that you receive at Executive Cigars in Melbourne.
And I tell people too that remember, just because you don't like a cigar at one shop doesn't mean you might not like it somewhere else.
True.
Understand that humidity is a major factor, and so is temperature.
And we've talked extensively about the importance of cigar lounges maintaining
Right.
proper humidity and temperature controls.
So I
And there are
always.
certain blenders like Rodriguez, for example,
Mhm.
out of Key West, who, before he puts his product in a cigar shop, he physically visits it to find out,
To make sure
to
that it's
make
the
sure,
perfect conditions
yeah,
for a
what are
cigar.
the conditions? Because if you're going to buy his cigar here, you know it's going to be well taken care of.
Yep.
So and he will not allow his cigar to be sold anywhere where the humidity and temperatures are not correct. And I respect that because to your point, a lot goes into the creation of a cigar, and so the last thing you want is to have the product that you've invested so much time in, so much resource, so much manpower, only to have it someplace where it is not being properly stored.
Right.
And that can ruin the cigar experience for an individual who may think the cigar sucks, but it doesn't suck. It's how it's maintained.
Right.
So,
And that's why I say always give it the three-strike rule. If you don't like a cigar, go to a different shop and try it again.
unless we know it's just
Basura.
trash, yeah, and you have to do the the cigar snob smash on it and just crumble it up in pieces right there on the spot and move on.
Yeah, I
Because
just
life
use
is
this
too.
finger. I use the leverage and just break it in half.
That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the 1 inch
Simple
punch finger.
physics.
That's the 1 inch punch finger.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. So,
But yeah, always give your cigar, a good solid three tries because I think that some cigars, and it's not any fault of anybody. Some people like to maintain their cigars at certain temperatures, and you have to realize that when you are a tobacconist and you own a shop, that you can't keep the cigars at the temperature and humidity that you like.
that is correct.
You have to keep it at what the majority of manufacturers maintain their cigars at.
Yep.
You have your personal humidors, maintain them that way.
Mm-hmm.
But for the whole shop, especially if you have an open humidor shop,
Yeah.
that is the worst to take care of.
Yeah, it requires a lot of work.
Because in Florida, if it's hot and you have the doors open, you bring in all that humidity. You bring in all that
And
heat.
heat. Yeah.
And then you have all this heat coming in. So whatever cigars are at the front door are soaking that up. And then you have the misters that are going, and they're adding more humidity. So those cigars they're oversaturated, which causes the relights. That's why when a lot of people keep relighting their cigar every 5 minutes, they're smoking it. They rest it for 2 minutes and pick it back up and it's out. It's because the cigar has way too much water in it. And it's not that you can squeeze a cigar and see the water come out,
No.
but the
It's just
squeeze
there.
test is when you squeeze a cigar, you should get a little bit of give, but not If you can mush that whole middle of that cigar, that's over humidified. Not saying don't purchase them, but understand when you do purchase them, what you're going to have to do is you're going to have to sit them down in your humidor for at least 30 to 60 days to make sure that they're proper for you. I mean, don't get me wrong, there are some people who love their cigars at 72 degrees humidity. I'm a 68 to 69 guy. I like that. I like it a little harsher. I like the tobacco to be a little drier.
Give it a little snap.
Yeah, to me, and I smoke a lot of heavy cigars.
You do.
So it accentuates and really brings out the true strength of those cigars. So
Now, when you started smoking cigars, did you immediately gravitate toward the stronger cigars like the Maduros and so forth? Or did you have your own progression?
so I had a progression. For the first 7 years I smoked cigars, I only smoked Cubans and I only smoked natural leaves.
Yes,
So
it's like having your first car be a BMW.
so it would but that was a problem because the Cuban thing was good because they weren't strong, but they had a lot of flavor to them. But then when I went to go look for similar stuff in the States, and it wasn't necessarily the same. A lot of the cigars that are lighter, per se, don't necessarily have a full body flavor to them.
True.
So it's kind of like smoking air. And for a while, I was getting put off from cigars, and I'm like, maybe I'll just stop smoking cigars because
No,
I don't. I'm not finding anything I like. And I went into my shop, my first home shop in Florida, in Port St. Lucie, Smoke Inn, and I met two guys. One's name is Chucky. He's a retired New York postal worker. The other guy was my friend Mike LaBianca. He played for the Rangers, hockey guy.
Okay.
And all they smoked were Padrones. And so, I would go in there, buy my little 3 sticks, and leave every day. And then one day they stopped me. They're like, "Hey, we got some pizza. Come and sit down and hang out with us." And I'm like, "All right, cool, whatever." And he's like, "But let me get you a real cigar first." And I felt offended. I was like, "But I am smoking a real cigar." He's like, "No, nothing against that cigar and that manufacturer. But we see you come in here all the time, and you've been coming in here for over 6 months, and your taste hasn't changed. Like you buy the exact same 3 cigars every time you come in every day." And I was like, "Yeah, well, that's what I like." And they were like, "But you're never going to really be a true cigar smoker if you don't expand your palate
True.
or if you don't try new things." So I said, "All right, fine." So they gave me a 1926 35 natural
Hey.
as my first Padron. And I smoked it, and it took me back to the first cigar I smoked, the Romeo and Juliet Churchill from Cuba. And it was just full of flavor. It was a little heavier than what I was used to, but it was one of those cigars that it's a life-changing cigar. It makes you really think about and assess, like, do I like cigars this much? Because it wasn't a cheap cigar. It still isn't a cheap cigar.
No.
But is it worth the price? And like I said, once you figure out the quality, you figure out the process and everything that goes into making the cigar, it's definitely, I was like, oh yeah, this is worth it, hands down. And that's why I don't balk at cigar prices. Like if I see a cigar that's $20 or $30, I'm like, okay, but there's a reason for it. And especially if there's a half a box on the shelf, so if there's like 12 or 10 cigars left in the box, you know that it's a good cigar.
Yeah.
If I go into a shop and there's a full box, I always ask first, like, "Hey, did you just open this and put it on the shelf?" Because it may be that somebody just bought the last box or bought the last couple, and they're just resupplying, and that's why nobody's taken a cigar yet.
That's a good point.
So,
yeah, especially if you know they don't have additional inventory.
right.
That they have either above the shelves or in the back room somewhere. So, good point.
But there's so much more than just actually smoking a cigar. Like there's so much that goes into it. There's the fellowship and the friendship like we have. Like I didn't know Art from anything. He didn't know me at all. We met at a cigar shop and became friends. Same thing with Virgil. We met at a cigar shop. We talked. We have similar interests. you like similar cigars, and you make lifelong friendships.
Which is funny considering when you first met me, you didn't know what to make of me.
Yeah, I was like, who is this guy? Like, man, this guy just he's off the wall. I mean, but the same thing with Stephen.
Well, he's still off the wall.
Well, but not in the way you were.
How was I off the wall?
No, he was just like, I don't know, like that under the radar,
Yeah.
And that's just his personality. He's a very
Whereas I came in,
calm, cool, and collected guy, and he's just,
where I came in, personality, speak to everybody, cool with everybody,
hmm
try to be pragmatic, try to treat people how I want to be treated.
Yeah, and I think that's the reason that me and Steven started talking was because he liked my cigar so much,
Mm-hmm.
and that he's like, "Oh, you're the one who makes this." I said, "Yeah," and that's how two of us became friends.
Yeah.
Was we bonded over the actual cigar that he liked. That's one of his favorites. Whereas me and you bonded over just being adults and being like
Being
tokens per se in a society or in a place where there aren't a lot of us.
yeah, and being great girl dads.
That too, yes. So I mean, there's a lot that you get. It's not just about smoking cigars and shooting the shit and watching sports and drinking and cursing. Like you really make lifelong friends from these places. Like I mean,
As I with you.
yeah. I mean, some of the people that I've met in my life, like I have more cigar friends that I talk to and I visit than people that I've known half my life.
Same.
Like family friends and stuff. Like I don't. There's not necessarily that much. So, and the cigar shop is your place to relax. That's
It
your
is.
safe haven. So,
Yeah. Well, it's almost like going to your favorite barber shop.
yep.
You come in, you chill, you talk, you fellowship, you talk shit, but you get something. You always get something out of it. I always get something out of the cigar smoking experience that I share with you and some of our other friends.
Yep. So, speaking of that,
Yeah.
the New Year's show, I will not be here.
When is New Year's?
The first is the Saturday, actually. New Year's Day is the first.
Oh, okay. So, okay. Well, yeah, because it's
I'll
the first.
so I will be in. I'm taking my daughters and my girl to Tibby Island for an extended vacation. We're going to be there for like 6 days.
Very nice. Very nice. Well deserved for you.
Yeah, I've always wanted to go to Savannah,
Mhm.
and watching cooking shows and stuff, I learned the history of Tibby Island.
Mhm.
So, Takia made it a point. She's like, well, if we go, we should stay on Tibby Island. And I said, all right, no problem.
So the cruise is on.
And so the cruise is off, but I did book, and we're locked in for, and they call it the South Beach House because it's that Art Deco style.
Oh, nice.
And it's right in, like, literally right next to downtown and all the shops and the restaurants and everything. So we can walk to everything. And then, of course, we're going to go over to Savannah and visit. But it's nice to stay in that area. I'm the same way when I was in St. Simon's Island.
I've always wanted to visit St. Simon's Island.
That is a beautiful place.
I heard it is.
Don't go there for the beach because it sucks. It's just a rocky beach. However, they have, when I say some of the best chefs in the world, there's a restaurant, I'm trying to remember the name of it now that I went to, and the chef there, his menu is so eclectic, but they also do a lot of hunting and fishing there. So you can bring your catch to the restaurant and drop it off, and he will prepare your catch for you that evening for dinner.
That's nice. Now that's
So,
a lifestyle, right?
Yeah, so that it is. They've got, I think, 2 or 3 places that have been on like the Food Network's best barbecue places, diners, drive-ins, and dives, all that stuff. So they've got some very, very good food. They've got 2 cigar shops that are like right on Main Street. And then the best thing I like about it too is all the trees. All those trees lining the streets with the moss hanging off, and it looks like a scene out of In the Heat of the Night. And it's nice and calm. So you definitely got to check that out. And then Brunswick is the town that's next to it. It's on the other side of the bridge before you get to St. Simon Island.
And you know who probably the most famous person to ever come out of St. Simon's Island is?
Mm-mm.
Jim Brown was born and raised in St. Simon's Island.
No shit.
That's his hometown.
Oh.
Yeah.
And it's funny because that is a very huge border town, really. So every other house that you see, there's either a Georgia flag for football or there's a Gators flag for Florida. So it is a big, like, controversial town when it comes to football. Like, you'll one side of the street you'll drive down, you'll see Gator, 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 and then on the other side you'll see Bulldog, Bulldog, Bulldog everywhere. So it's awesome. Even the bars, everywhere. Like one of the bars we went to is like a little dive bar, but they split it in half, literally down the middle. And one side is a Georgia themed bar, and the other one is a Gator themed bar.
Could you imagine being there when there's a Georgia versus Florida game?
Oh my
Then it's
god!
off the hook.
That's probably the only place that I would go, other than the Florida Georgia game. Like to watch that game, I would definitely go to St. Simon Island because it's crazy.
Well, that would be a phenomenal trip.
And the tequila I was telling you about,
Yes.
the name slips me now. Tremaine. It's a newer tequila that's out. They have a Blanco and they have a Reposado.
Okay.
So that's something to look forward to if you're a tequila drinker, and they're not expensive.
Oh, yeah.
The Blanco is $24-25,
Okay.
and the Reposado is $33.99. I found it at Total Wine. So,
Oh, yeah. There it is, Total Wine.
and right now, if you buy
Is that
two
it?
bottles,
Tremana?
yep, Tremana.
Oh,
If you buy two
Terramana.
bottles,
Okay.
you buy two bottles, they give you $10 off.
Okay.
So
They also have an Añejo, which is $40.
yeah, I can see that they only had the Blanco and the Reposado. So I have to. That Añejo is not bad too. So depending on how I like this Reposado,
Yeah.
I may have to get that.
And at some
Añejo.
point, I still want to get a bottle of this
Oh, I had
Paseo
that.
Azul, just because I love that bottle. And it's a great
It's a
one. It's good
great
stuff.
tequila.
Yeah. So,
That is oh man, it's awesome.
thanks for the tip on that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I will text you later on tonight and let you know what I think of that repo. So, because I think I'm going to use it to make old fashions. Because that is the true test of a reposado now for me. Is does it make a great old fashioned? And that's thanks to you and your Sincoro Reposado old fashions that you
I love them.
get made here, especially.
Yes, that is my favorite way to make them. So far. But, to your point about expanding your palate, keep trying other great signature liquors in your old fashioned.
Absolutely.
You can switch it up. Definitely switch it up.
So let's take it to the panel here. MB, what's your cigar of the holiday season?
If any.
The next one,
Anything got your eye on?
Byron.
Ah,
He smoked one yesterday for his birthday. Yeah, me.
I love
amazing cigar, isn't
I'm
it?
I'm a big fan of the Byron Reserve 4-year. It's a great
That's
cigar.
what we smoked yesterday.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just well made.
Yeah. And the Byron, the Atabey, and what I'm talking
All right, have a good one, sir.
about,
Good seeing you.
Bandolino, they all come from the same
All right.
farm. So the great quality cigar.
Is it Dominican tobacco? Blended with Dominican?
It's I believe it's either Dominican or Costa Rican.
Because usually, nice, like a cigar, 9 times out of 10 has Dominican tobacco.
You got great taste, sir.
My palate loves Dominican.
Yeah, great taste. So
Yep, that's me too. Like I'm a big Dominican fan, especially the LFDs,
yeah,
and I think it's because they have such great strength, but at the same time, they have so much flavor to them. So it's not just like you're smoking a heavy stick and you're coughing. Like there's a lot. It's full flavor. There's a lot you get out of it, and then depending on what you pair it with, like I like to, especially my Dominican Habanos, I like to pair with a red wine. It brings out, especially the red blends, it brings out a lot more of the floral notes of the tobacco and just gets you, it pulls out more flavor than you would normally taste with it. So,
now to the naked eye and to the casual smoker, when you look up the Byron Reserve for 5-year, it does say the wrapper, binder, and filler are all undisclosed. And generally, when a cigar is undisclosed, it's for a particular reason.
Location.
And that tells me it's probably Cuban. So, but it's better to say undisclosed if it's a Cuban because you don't have to worry about it not being imported. So, but yeah, it's a phenomenal smoke. Yeah, I'm a big Byron fan. Now, what's interesting is the first time I tried Byron, a Byron cigar, I didn't care for it. I preferred the Atabey, but I decided to give it another shot. And the Byron Reserve that you had, I love it. It's one of my favorite cigars. So, ultra premium cigar, as is the Atabey and the Atabey Ritos, which by Executive carries, and the Bandolero, which is also comes from the same farm, but it's a more midpoint price cigar. It's still an ultra premium cigar, but it's a little bit lower price point. But you're certainly not sacrificing on quality and flavor and construction. So, yeah, they've got the Bandolero's got the red, green, and a blue label. The red is my favorite. It's what I'm smoking right now. So, yeah.
That's the Atabey you're talking about?
The Bandolero. So,
Let me ask you guys a question, y'all.
Mm-hmm.
What if someone like me start off with full bodies,
How?
and now I don't even know what I like no more. I don't like full bodies. My palate all screwed up.
How it changes.
So
One of
advice to somebody like that?
the easiest things to do, honestly, when you get to that point, and I do it all the time, take a break from cigars. Take a break for 30 days, 60 days. Make sure your palate's completely refreshed, and then you start at the bottom again. So you start at, and not the bottom per se, but you start at the mild cigars or mildly flavored cigars. Then you build your way up to the medium, the mild to mediums. And then once you get to that mild to medium, then you go, okay, I'm going to do a milder Habano or a milder Maduro. And then once you find your sweet spot, then you know what you like in that range. And then you can try to go back up to the full-bodied Maduros. One of my favorite full-bodied Maduros does not look like a Maduro. That's the Kill Bill 2 from La Polina.
yes.
What is it?
Kill Bill 2 from La Polina.
I heard about that one.
Yeah.
See that one?
That cigar,
Yeah.
let me tell you something. It's so unassuming, that cigar will put your dick in the dirt. Hands down. It's one of those cigars that, like, the first time I smoked it, I smoked half of it and then tried to get up, and I got lightheaded. And I was like, and the tobacconist I was with laughed at me. He was like, oh, yeah, by the way.
Don't smoke that on empty stomach.
Yeah, it's not, and
Full body?
it's a full-bodied cigar, but it's full flavor, too.
Full body.
You will love it.
Yeah.
But yeah, it is a cigar that's I went out to, Fleming's and had steak and potatoes, and now I want to after dinner cigar. That's what you smoke. Or
My favorite steakhouse, which is
Burns?
You think what?
Steakhouse.
Christmas?
Heck yeah.
Christmas.
This
Yeah.
is number one.
now I will tell you another experience I had that changed my life with cigar smoking was I was at a cigar dinner with the late Cigar Joe, and we were at where were we? What's that? We were at Ruth Chris outside on the patio having a cigar dinner. It was like me and 14 other people, and everybody else is at the table, and they're eating their steak and they're smoking, and I'm like, what the fuck? What are you doing? You're ruining this. Like, there's no way. So Joe's like, bro. I'm like, what? He's like, take a piece of steak, put your cigar in your mouth, pull the cigar smoke in, and chew your steak. And
That's right. You
it
told me about
opened
that.
up my palate to so much more. Like, obviously, if you're indoors, you can't do it. But if you're home or if you're at an outdoor restaurant that allows cigar smoking on the patio, it is an experience that you have to try. It's surprising that, and you think about it because your palate is having all these different things. But when you put them together on your palate, you find out so much more about the flavor of the steak, the amount of fat that it had on it. Even if you're depending on the type of cigar you're smoking, it's going to bring out more of the cracked black pepper or the kosher salt. Like, it's amazing.
Or the dry aging.
It's amazing the way it works out together. And the same way that you pair drinks with cigars, You pair meats. You know, if you're having a steak, you definitely want that medium to medium full. If you're having lamb or you're having chicken or you're having salmon, you want a milder cigar because you don't want something that's going to overpower the taste of the meat you have. So,
But yeah, so you may consider taking a brief break, TC, to let your palate kind of reset. So, but the Atabey, the Byron, and the
Bandolero.
Bandolero are three brands produced by Selected Tobacco. Selected Tobacco is run by the great Nelson Alfonso, who was a graphic artist who's basically known for doing the artwork for the Cohiba Bohique. And so in 2012, he started Selected Tobacco and created those three brands. So I'll have to get you a Bandolero and have you try that as well. Huh? They do not.
I don't think I've ever had a Bandolero.
Yeah, I'll get you one. But yeah, Cigars on Park Avenue carries the Bandolero brands. They also carry the Atabey, as well as the different versions of the Byron. Matter of fact, I had a Byron Reserve Habano the other day, which was phenomenal.
Ooh, I gotta try that.
Oh man, you talk about with your dick in the dirt. Oh, smooth all the way through. Just a great cigar. Again, great flavor. And the Bandoleros, they start at $12 a stick. Even though you're getting some of the same qualities you're getting with Byron and Atabey.
That's good.
So,
Have any of you ever gotten cigar poison?
Yes.
What?
I was
Never
on a
heard of
cigar for 30 years. Twice in my life, I felt like, dear Lord, put a gun to my head.
cigar poison? What
I'm
the
calling
hell?
it cigar poison. I don't know what it is, but it happened to me twice, and they're very strong cigars. I don't remember what they were, but it was
That
terrible.
happened to me once when we had a LFD event with Antonio Gomez, a good friend of mine, and we were smoking the LFD Digger, which is a double
That
Ajero.
big cigar?
Yeah, it's a double
Oh,
Ajero,
that's a man cigar.
60 gauge by 8-inch cigar,
Oh,
and we did Burn the Band,
That's a porn cigar.
and we did Burn the Band. So I won the contest, but almost lost my life. I smoked that stick in 46 minutes to burn the band.
Wow.
So
You
I,
smoked that at what now?
46 minutes.
That big cigar?
yep.
Dude, you were huffing and puffing.
And let me tell you, I did not smoke another cigar, honestly, for almost 3 weeks.
It's worse
What?
Than, it's worse than food poisoning.
Yeah. It was just because it was, you got to think about it. This is just straight nicotine. This isn't anything flavorful or added to it. So when you talk about a double Ajero and triple Ajero, that is the cream of the crop when it comes to strength. The heavier the Lajero, the heavier nicotine content you have. And consuming an 8.5-inch cigar, so about 8 inches of it, in 46 minutes, and it's a 60 ring gauge. So this isn't a small ring gauge. So you are getting a ton of nicotine and your body can't handle it. And you literally get sick. I mean, luckily I didn't throw up.
So your body's literally rebelling.
Yeah.
Rebelling against
Oh,
it.
yeah. I mean, I've seen guys throw up before.
What?
Yeah.
I've never seen that.
Yeah. It's that strong of a stick. I compare it to before it got reblended, the Camacho Triple Maduro. That was a cigar that, you smoked it once or twice a year just to prove that you could still smoke a cigar that strong. Because it was that cigar that you smoke one cigar and that's it. You're not smoking for the next couple of days because it's just that strong. Yeah, it's a horrible feeling.
Yeah,
It's a horrible
I've
feeling.
never had that experience, thankfully. Wow.
That also happens when we do cigar events. When I used to work for Smoking, at the Great Smoke, you've got every rep there.
Yes.
So everybody's passing you a cigar. So I'd literally be halfway through a cigar and they're like, "Oh, you got that from Rocky? Okay, cool. Here, take this. Oh, you got that from Hollywood Jose? Here, take this." And they already have it cut and they light it and give it to me. And so you're smoking 15, 16 cigars in an 8-hour period, and you're not eating. You're just drinking alcohol. It is not a good feeling.
So you're just putting your body through it.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
it's a great event.
10 years in a row. It's February 26th.
Mhm.
My birthday this year.
Oh, it's your birthday?
nice.
Oh, man, we got to
You guys
do
going
this.
down?
We got to do it. We got to now.
I got to check with my road dog, TC. I got to see if we're going.
Oh, yeah, I'll be there.
Okay. That's where I met TC. Almost 10 years ago.
Tickets are on sale. The VIP tickets.
We got to make sure though.
What's
There's
the
one
event
thing we got
called?
to make sure: the Great Smoke,
Listen, where is it?
Palm Beach.
Oh, I'm in. I'm going.
That
I'm
is-
motherfucking going.
It's toned down a lot since the previous years.
We got to tone it back up.
But because we used to, I'll just put it like this: body painted strippers, and that was at the event at 3 o'clock in the afternoon.
The Great Smoke.
The Great Smoke. I think it's at the Polish American Club now.
No,
No, it's in the open air place.
no, they changed it. They did the fairgrounds now.
They're doing it at the fair. Oh, that's going to be big then.
Yeah, this will be like the third year. Well, they didn't do it last year because of COVID.
Oh yeah, it's at the South Florida Fairgrounds.
So let me tell you something. When you talk about the who's who of cigars,
Everybody.
and we're not talking retailers.
Yeah.
I'm talking about smokers that you follow on Instagram and Facebook and everything. All of those people fly out. It's like the IPCPR. But you come to Florida in February and it's still hot. So it is a
Al Micallef of Micallef Cigars.
blast.
Alec Rubin of Alec Bradley. Amanda Micallef.
Hmm.
Bradley Rubin of Alec Bradley. Christian Hero of CLE.
Oh, great cigars.
Clay Roberts of La Polina.
Yep.
So Eric Espinosa of Espinosa.
Yeah, it's literally just on the manufacturer side. You get to meet and see people
Janie Garcia, my
that you would.
father.
Yep. So Pete Johnson's going to be there.
Yep. Jose Ortega, my father's going to be there. Matt
Matt
Booth.
Booth, my boy.
There he
That's
is,
my boy.
looking clean. I like it. you two rock the same beard.
Hey,
Too.
that's my boy, man.
Nick Perdomo III
Yep.
will be there. Of course, the Patels will be there. Oscar
Mhm.
Valadares will be there. Pete Johnson will be
That's my
there.
boy. Hey, told you.
Yeah.
HBC. Oh, that's the right. Go back. That guy. Or is it the one under him?
Rainier Lorenzo.
Is that HBC too?
Uh,
No, yeah, that's Lorenzo.
HBC.
Yes, Lorenzo.
Yeah.
That's who I met on Wednesday.
Okay.
But yeah, it's literally Steve Saka, my boy. You see him? It's everybody.
Terrence Riley, Agamorsa.
Scott Weeks of Recluse. I mean, you're talking about everybody who's had a major influence on cigars in the past 20 to 30, 40 years is there.
That's it.
And these are people that, like, you watch podcasts or you listen to these shows or you see these private dinners where these people go and you never get to meet them. Jonathan Drew would definitely, it's one of those places where
He's gone.
it's like you get to meet your heroes of cigars
Yeah.
right there. And then, like I said,
And that's a good place to break new cigars, too. You've got a new blend coming
Yep.
out, so show it off.
and then you get to meet, like I said, again, all of the influencers and people that you follow on social media that are in California, New York, all over the place.
And even the locals.
That's a big event, and everybody flies in for it. So it's always fun because not only do you get to meet all the manufacturers, but you get to meet the people who you've only talked to through the internet and compared cigars and in your cigar groups, but you've never actually got to sit with them and meet with them and have a cigar and a drink in person. So it's a really, really good event.
I'm going.
So yeah, it's amazing. Just on the cigar side, it's amazing.
So you stay a couple of days, or you just going to drive back?
No, we go down there.
All right.
Yeah, Friday night they do have the cigar dinner, and then after the dinner, they usually don't do anything, and then Saturday they start up at about 10 o'clock.
And shout out to our friends and family who are at Cigar Heritage this weekend down in Tampa. So I'm sure they're having a good time down there.
Yeah, I was pondering that for a sec, but the show must go on.
And we are the show.
That is true.
So
But we have talked explicitly about cigars and liquor. We've not talked about guns today because we're not going to talk about guns until Art gets his 308 6 hour. So I bid you adieu. Have a great weekend. Smoke well. Drink well.
and as always,
Aim center mass.
y'all
Have a
be
great
safe.
weekend.